actually dramatically turn a page.
So hello, welcome back. I am Carrie Maughan, Winooski's reading specialist, and today I have a faculty member with us, Mr. Guile, our school librarian. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what are the types of things that you generally like to read?
So I try to be a pretty omnivorous reader, read a little bit of everything. It's part of the job, I think.
Yeah, that's true, definitely.
But if I was left to my own devices, I would probably read mostly, I really like weird, cerebral science fiction books. That's my
cool.
jam.
I do like the cerebral, but science fiction is usually not where I go. Okay, so what is it about science fiction that is attractive to you?
I just really love sort of imaginative worlds that are just strange and different, but have characters that are also relatable at the same time, living in that really foreign, strange world.
Nice.
I just find that really fascinating.
Have you ever come across one that you just started and you're like, oh my God, that one was terrible. I would not want to read this one. Or is there maybe do you always stick with it regardless?
No, I am absolutely in favor of, if you're not feeling a book, just go find another. There are so many books out there in the world.
How long do you think you should give a book before you put it down?
Oh, I think you absolutely have to give a book a proper chance before you can decide whether or not it's really for you or not. And sometimes I've absolutely been surprised. Actually, one of the books that I had for recommending, it took me a little while before I really felt like, oh, I get it, I understand. And once I sort of understood who the characters were, I started to understand the world. I really found that I really did have a connection with it, and I really did enjoy the book.
Can you tell us a little bit about some of the books that you have brought and what you liked about them?
Yeah, so this is The First Rule of Punk, and I actually had read it over the summer. It's by Celia Perez. It's on the Dorothy Canfield Fisher Award list. It's about a girl who moves to Chicago from her hometown, and she's really kind of nervous about fitting in. And she is a huge fan of punk music. And it takes her some time, but she finally finds a group of students at her new school that are interested in punk music. And she starts planning an alternative talent show because their principal wouldn't let them perform punk songs at their talent show.
Nice. I love that the next one you've chosen. This is also one of my favorite books ever. Yes.
So I pulled this out. This is actually the first book that I read and really, really got me interested in literature. It's Cat's Cradle by Kurt Vonnegut. And this falls under the cerebral, weird sci-fi genre that I was talking about earlier. Even though it's about the possible end of the world, it is also hilarious. It's got a really dark sense of humor. Yes. I just love Kurt Vonnegut.
Yes. I find a lot of his stuff is darkly humorous. And I know it's weird, but I love those sorts of things. So, yes.
And this is Bull by David Elliott. This is on the Green Mountain Book Award nomination list for this year.
Nice. Now, what's the difference between Green Mountain Book Award and Dorothy Canfield Fisher? Are they for different age groups, maybe?
Yep. Dorothy Canfield Fisher is targeted at middle school students, and Green Mountain Book Award is targeted for high school students.
Oh, great. Okay.
But there are great things for anybody on either list. So this is Bull, and it is a retelling of the story of Theseus and the Minotaur.
Awesome. I love books like this. I love retellings of myths and fairy tales because I think it makes us almost look back on where the story might have come from and start making a lot of real world connections on where our myths and folklore came from. So.
Yeah. And it's written in verse, so written in poetry.
Nice.
It's written in like a hip hop themed verse. And it is amazing and hilarious. And Poseidon is like the coolest character in the world in this book. Do you mind if I spit you a verse from Poseidon?
Yes.
Minos thought he could pull a fast one on me, Poseidon, god of the sea, but I'm the last one on whom you should try such a thing. The nerve of that guy, the balls, the audacity. I am the ocean. I got capacity, depth, darkness, Delphic power, so his sweet little plan went big time sour, and his wife had a son born with horns and a muzzle, who ended up in an underground puzzle. What is that with you mortals? You just can't seem to learn. If you play with fire, babies, you're gonna get burned.
That was impressive. Wow.
So it's awesome. There's so many great characters in here, so many great verses. If you're a fan of Hamilton, the musical by Lin-Manuel Miranda, which I am, I would definitely suggest checking this out because it kind of takes a classic myth and it puts sort of a modern, fun spin on it.
Nice.
But yeah, so again, this is on the Green Mountain Book Award list. I would definitely recommend checking this out.
Great. Well, thank you so much for all of the great recommendations. And I'm really excited that you also pointed out those two lists. Dorothy Canfield Fisher, Green Mountain. So if you don't even know where to start, just check out one of those.
Can you dramatically turn a page? Yeah, this is just for the video. There's not actually gonna be sound in it, so it doesn't actually matter what we're saying. Just that we're looking like we're having a conversation. So just pretend like I'm showing you this book and you're like, oh my gosh.